They are all gathered in Indianapolis. So this hour, we will get into the latest in the NFL. Andy McNamara, who joins us throughout the football season from the Sick Podcast, NFL and fantasy sports analyst. He will join us coming up in less than 20 minutes from now. We'll talk to him. Plus, we will get into what Joel Embiid said this hour and take your guys' reactions to all that and more. 609 403 0973 and your DMs into 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. All right. So I want to start with the Embiid stuff because, Embiid had basically an impromptu press conference. And I thought he had some interesting items, some nuggets to say. And some of the reactions to what he said afterward have been interesting today, right? So nobody knew the day before this morning. I didn't wake up this morning knowing Joel Embiid was going to speak, but he did. And so one of the things Embiid brought up was about, they were asking about, hey, the Sixers announced that you are going to be reevaluated next week and that they'll determine your timeline after that. Well, here's what Embiid said about the reevaluation next week.
I don't think anything's going to change between in a week from now. Like I said, it's all about how I feel. Rehab is going through ups and downs, but we manage it. So, just the goal is try to get as healthy as possible and, come back.
So that's a huge nugget to take away there. Joel Embiid's telling you, look, I'm not going to feel any different next week. My health is what it is. So Joel is already telling you right off the bat that his health is not changing. It's not getting better. It's not like that he thinks he's going to be able to, start ramping it up next week per se. So that gives you an idea already where we are. Where we are is that Joel is not going to be ready to go in the next week or two. Okay. So with that understanding, right, with that information in hand, we can now verify the speculation that has been given by other people who cover the team. The Keith Pompeys from the Philadelphia Inquirer, the Paul Hudrick, who was on with Mike Gill earlier today on the Sports Bash from Liberty Ballers, this Paul Hudrick, and other people who have reported that Joel Embiid is going to be back, but it's not going to be early or the mid month of March. It's probably going to be late in the month. But the other side of this is Joel Embiid revealed that he has not been healthy most of the year. This is a guy who is having a monster season before the injury, averaging 35 points a game, right? And Joel revealed that he hasn't been healthy while scoring these 35 and 40-point games.
I said is playing basketball, playing as much as I can. And for really 2 months, I was not, 100%. I was not even close to it. And I just felt the need of, like I always said, giving my all to the team and just wanted to win because I know I can add that to this basketball team.
Major points by Embiid. Because number one, he points out, look, I haven't been healthy for 2 months. Well, if that's the case, then Embiid's already telling you that if he's not 100% when he comes back, he still should be able to make an impact on the court. The other part of it, what he says is that it talks about how, I want to be out there. I believe that if I'm out there, we have a better chance to win. That gives you a great insight into how Joel Embiid thinks, right? It gives you a great insight into how Joel Embiid looks at big picture himself and the Sixers. He believes genuinely that the Sixers need him to win. And he's not saying it in like an egotistical manner. He's saying it in a I look around and I see what I can contribute to this team as Embiid, who confirms himself the conversation Nick Nurse described from the John Clark Takeoff podcast. Nick Nurse said on the John Clark's podcast that him and Joel have talked about how Joel wants to be out there with these guys, and Embiid confirmed that information today.
Told him, I was like, man, I wish I was playing because I was so excited because I feel like the way he's playing, I just felt like I could help him even more. And then Kyle, I talked to him, other shit happened here. I think he's gonna help us a lot. I think he's gonna help me a lot. This is experience, and then basketball-wise, he's still really good.
So again, Joel Embiid is giving you some interesting insights because he's basically in some ways telling you without telling you that he says, look, I'm not going to come back yet. I don't have a timetable. I don't know when I'm going to be back. It depends on how I feel. You know, he said multiple times during the media scrum that, you know, he used words like I'm frustrated, I'm not happy, I'm disappointed. Like he's trying to be positive, but he's also telling the reporters, look, I'm not happy right now. I'm not enjoying my downtime. He says, you know, I spend a lot of time with my family, but I keep on telling my kid that, you know, I'm not going to be around like this all the time. That when daddy's healthy again, he's not going to be hanging around all the time. So, you know, it's an interesting introspection into how Joel Embiid thinks. So we know, number one, that Joel Embiid will not be back in the next couple weeks. Again, that lines up with the reporting from multiple Sixers and NBA reporters that the speculation was always going to be that he would be back around the end of the month. The second thing you learn about Embiid there is that he has already played most of this year injured. So if he has not been healthy and he put up all those big numbers for 2 months when he was not healthy, when he was not 100%, that already tells you, listening on 97.3 ESPN, when you tune in to Tom McGinnis calling all the action during Embiid's games, when he's had these 30, 40, 50, 60, 70-point games, he's been doing it banged up already. So should we be concerned about what Embiid is going to be like when he returns? Well, maybe not, because if Embiid has already been playing most of the year less than 100% and he's put up these big numbers, then if they just manage his minutes, he should be able to continue to have some big games when he comes back. But the other part of the conversation is he said, look, I want to be out there with Buddy Hield. I want to be out there with Kyle Lowry. I want to be out there with my teammates. I'm looking forward to coming back and playing with these guys, which leans into the question, which is, we had asked numerous times, did they make these moves with Joel in mind? Well, apparently he's happy with the moves. He is happy with Hield and Lowry. And remember, you want to keep the superstar happy. NBA Today, ESPN NBA insider Zach Lowe said this about Joel Embiid.
Joel Embiid said it in his own words. He said, you can never tell how your body is going to react. So it's going to be wait and see, but it just can't be emphasized enough. This dude is averaging 35 points a game in 34 minutes a game. You can argue about Wilt and Jordan in this on a per minute basis. This was the greatest scoring season in the history of professional basketball, and they just have no answer without him. It's just praying that Tyrese Maxey hits a bunch of step back threes. Tobias Harris has been in a slump.
So if Joel Embiid is having an historic year, and let's say he comes back and has 75% of that. If Joel Embiid comes back and instead of giving you 35 points a game, He gives you 25 and 10 every night in the postseason. Is that enough for the Sixers to make a deep run? It may be, and here's why. We have not had Joel Embiid be healthy for the majority of the postseason games Sixers have played in recent years. If Joel Embiid can play every game of a series and consistently give you an average of 25 points, 10 rebounds every single game, that is going to open up the floor for the other players like Buddy Hield, like Tyrese Maxey, like Kyle Lowry to an extent, right? It's going to put less pressure on the other players on this team to have to step up. Remember, I talked to you guys about this before on game night. If everyone does their job, you don't have to ask the bench to fill up the stat sheet as much. You don't need Kelly Oubre. You don't need Nicholas Batum. You don't need Paul Reed. You don't need these other guys to go out there and be big scorers to make up for a difference. If Embiid is giving you 25 points a night, that means he is giving you almost a quarter of your points every night. So you should be able to get the rest of your team's points from the other guys. And let's be honest, if Embiid averages 25 and Maxey averages 30, and let's say Buddy Hield averages 15, I'm just throwing out numbers right now, but you understand what I'm saying. That's 70 points right there. So if you get 70 points from those three guys consistently in every playoff game, you probably have a chance to win in the postseason. Text board is open, 609-403-0973. Your DMs into 973 ESPN. Mobile app powered by First Bank. See how Jack GameNight Courthouse chimes in. This is Josh. We knew Embiid wasn't healthy all year. He was sitting, but seemed to be almost every other night with some knee swelling. It wasn't a secret. He wasn't completely healthy. We don't think this is anything new. He shouldn't come back until April. Take the time. People think this is a 4-week thing. It's not. He'll be back. Just got to be patient. That's from Jack in Cape May Courthouse. Couple things. One, just because you and I assumed he wasn't healthy doesn't mean it doesn't mean that we actually understood what that meant. It's the idea that Joel Embiid has always been banged up or injured or not 100% on some level, right? And now we're finding out that Joel Embiid is not just someone who tries to play through injuries. He can play through injuries, Jack, at a high level. Joel Embiid, and I'm not trying to be hypercritical, but I'm just going to be honest. Joel Embiid has always been a half-truther. I'm not going to call him a liar, but he's always been a guy who has downplayed his injuries, who has marginalized how healthy or not healthy he is. And as he's gotten older, he has become more honest about the state of his health and his well-being. And now he's telling you that I don't need to be 100% when I come back to make an impact on this team. That is what we're learning from this Jack GameNight Courthouse. It's the idea that Joel is telling you, I'm going to be back. I'm not going to be 100%, and it's going to be okay. Keep the text coming in, 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank. See how coming up next, talk some NFL with Andy McNamara here with me, Josh Hennig, on 97.3 ESPN.
Wake up weekday mornings from 6 to 10 a.m. with Unsportsmanlike on 97.3 ESPN with Evan Cohen, Super Bowl champion Chris Canty, and Michelle Small.
Can't wake up without it.
Brought to you by the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City.
Champion Exteriors. Champion, the one you call first. Voted best of the best in Jersey Shores. For roofing and siding, windows and doors. 24-month financing, no payments, no interest. You're certified GAF elite contractors. Champion-exteriors.com. Champion Exteriors. Champion, the one you call first.
Ever wonder what's around the next corner? Past the trees, into the canyons, over the mountains, or through the desert. That's where adventure lives. Take a Nissan SUV and go find it.
I'm embarrassed to say this. I've been using deodorant on my armpits for 30 years, and anytime I noticed odor anywhere else, I thought I needed another shower, I wasn't clean, or I felt like there was something wrong with me. And then my gynecologist told me about Lumi. It's a whole body deodorant for pits, feet, and privates that controls odor anywhere and everywhere on your body. Since Lumi, I never have to worry about body odor ever again, anywhere on my body. And that reassurance is worth every penny.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code 300 and get an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack that comes with a solid stick, cream tube, free product of your choice, and ships free with code 300. LUME deodorant.com, code 300 for an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack. With over 200,000 5-star reviews, I am so sure you're going to love it. Or return it for free. That's LUME deodorant.com, code 300 for an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack. LUME deodorant.com, code 300.
Hear that? The sound of adorable little birds in your garden. And if you were here, you'd taste the 2 sweet but tiny tomatoes you grew all by yourself. But you're not here. Because your self-care happens when you're riding your motorcycle protected by Progressive on your way to the store for a pack of normal-sized tomatoes. So if you ride, switch to Progressive, America's #1 motorcycle insurer, without getting your hands dirty. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
Sorry, but we actually have a wait list for our Monstera.
Shaw's greenhouse is really bringing in the green.
We can't keep snake plants in stock.
She needs a construction manager to build on her roots and grow.
We could add a whole section for ferns. Here we'd have dahlias, dahlias, and more dahlias.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Dog parents are loving Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend Premium Dog Food.
The way she acts and the way she moves, it's just so much better. And she's like a puppy again. It's unbelievable.
Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend is a freeze-dried raw food made with 0 artificial preservatives, so it's naturally shelf-stable with no mess, freezer, or fridge required. Plus, it's full of premium turkey, beef, salmon, and meat your dog will love.
We started with Nature's Blend. She's happy, she sleeps well, she's energetic. I am just delighted with this product.
When given the choice, Nature's Blend and Amazon's #1 bestseller in dry dog food, 29 out of 30 dogs chose Nature's Blend first.
I'm so confident your dog will love it. Your order is backed with a 90-day guarantee.
Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free bag of delicious beef liver treats. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Text DEAL to 511-511. All pets are unique. Your pet's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply. Studies available upon request.
Oh, baby, it's Sixers basketball. This is Tom McGinnis, radio voice of the Philadelphia 76ers, and you can listen to all the exciting Sixers basketball action right here on 97.3 ESPN FM.
Brought to you by Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City's pre-owned center on the Black Horse Pike in Pleasantville.
Now hard on a drive, back to Duell, 3-point shot, Embiid dribbles, fires from out front, it's good, he made it, the Sixers take the lead. Sixers basketball all season long on 97.3 ESPN FM.
This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
We'll check back on the text board in just a bit here on the Power Hour known as Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. You know, it's been a crazy NFL week thus far, so I had to get my guy Andy McNamara to jump back on the show. The Sick Podcast, that's where you catch him each and every week, and he joins me now here on 97.3 ESPN. Andy, welcome back. How you doing, my favorite Browns fan?
Josh, doing good, brother. It's a rare day where neither of us are wearing wrestling gear. I'm impressed. Right. I think. I don't know. You got your Philly stuff on. They played the Jays today, I think, right?
Yeah, they beat the Jays in a very close game in Dunedin. 5-0 spring training game.
Oh, baby, let's go! Yeah,
Christian Pasha, I think, hit a home run. So
all right, we're cooking. Yeah, I'd rather NFL Combine talk than spring training any day.
Yeah, exactly. Listen. Although I'm pretty sure you have more wrestling gear than I do, so it's more of a surprise if you're not wearing it than I'm not wearing it.
I actually had to go into the office today, so I had to wear something somewhat presentable.
Oh, you had to clean up a little bit. Gotcha.
A little bit, yeah.
So let's start with this, okay? We heard everyone, the coaches and people starting to speak this week. For a team like the Eagles, right? They came out and they didn't really, there's no earth-shattering news usually this week. We all know that, right? But they did confirm some interesting tidbits. I think one of the tidbits that Sirianni brought up, and you as a long-suffering Browns fan understands the other side of this coin, right? And that is, Sirianni said that, listen, I've never had a coach like Vic Fangio before. I've never had a veteran coordinator, which is true because he had John Gannon and Shane Steichen for 2 years. And then last year, he had Sean Desai and he had Brian Johnson. So, yeah, Vic Fangio, who apparently remembers the NFL Combine before it was in Indianapolis, apparently. He was telling that story earlier this week. But I mean, that you have a legitimate veteran coach now with a young coach. So, to you, how much of a difference do you, Andy McNamara, think that will make for the Eagles?
I think Vic Fangio remembers before they had face masks, Josh. That's how far back old Vic goes. Honestly, though, I think it's the perfect type of hire for Philly. Vic Fangio as a head coach? Hell no. Vic Fangio is a guy who can just focus in on the defense and take that off of Sirianni's plate. I think that's phenomenal. Similar to what the Browns have with Kevin Stefanski and Jim Schwartz. Kevin Stefanski can say, Jim Schwartz, you do you. Defense taken care of. It's like you have a defensive head coach. Not a problem. Do your thing. Sirianni can do the same thing now with Fangio. This is an established guy, knows what he's doing. He's not going to take any BS from the players. He's respected. Boom. Now he can turn all of his focus onto that offensive side of the ball. So I think it's a great hire, and I think it's a really good thing for the Eagles.
When you think about, this staff from last year to this year, I mean, can really changing both coordinators make that much of a difference?
You know what? I'm going to say yes, depending on the coordinators that, you bring in. This isn't a one-size-fits-all type of situation.
Sure.
And I'll give you, again, not to go back to the Cleveland example, but they just did it last year, except it was special teams with Bubba Ventrone and Jim Schwartz. 2 coordinators. Now, Kevin Stefanski calls his own plays, so didn't have to do anything last year, but brought in Jim Schwartz, Bubba Ventrone. Needed sprucing up, needed more focus on those sides of the ball. Year 1, phenomenal. Special teams, completely fixed. Defense, you have the best assistant coach of the year and defensive player of the year. Enough said. So I think it can be depending on the type of coordinator, again, that you bring in. Can they be difference makers? And at least on the defensive side of the ball, I think the answer is yes with Fangio.
What about the offensive side? What about Kellen Moore on the offense?
Kellen Moore's interesting because I don't dislike the hire, but I think it's reasonable if you're an Eagles fan to have questions, right? Last year with the Chargers, that did not go well. Now, is that Kellen Moore's fault? I don't know. That had some injuries. You know, I'm not fully blaming Kellen. You had a horrible head
They had
coach.
some pretty serious injuries.
Serious injuries and a horrific head coach. Just the worst.
Idiot.
Just stop. Terrible. So then you go back. Okay, so let's say that's a moment. Then you go back to Dallas. I like what he did in Dallas, right? I like that formula for the most part. Was he perfect? No. But is this a look maybe at this point in Jalen Hurts' career in this offense, a fresh look, someone who's dealt with and look, talent-wise, Jalen Hurts is a more athletically gifted quarterback than Dak Prescott. So I think Kellen Moore's probably licking his chops to get a hold of him. So I think it can be a good thing. I'm more confident in the Fangio side. The Chargers side, again, spooked me a little bit. Not his fault, but overall, I think it's okay. And really, it depends. Is this going to be, is Kellen Moore bringing in some drastically new offense, or is he going to build off of what Jalen Hurts has done? And this, not just Hurts, but this offense. I think if he's smart, he's going to try to say, okay, what didn't go well last year overall? And let's build off. We're not reinventing Jalen Hurts because he's pretty damn good as he is.
Andy, you mentioned about, you kept going back to the Cleveland analogy, which brings up a bigger picture question, which is you look at your team in Cleveland. Andy McNamara, host of the Sick Podcast, joining me here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM. You guys fired your coordinator too. But you guys didn't bring in a Kellen Moore with a track record. You guys brought in Ken Dorsey. So, how do you think that's a little different, though? Because Stefanski calls the plays.
For now.
Cleveland. Okay,
it's still not official, but yeah.
Sirianni hasn't called plays in a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
So, on one hand, you bring in Kellen Moore because he's going to call the plays as well. Well, Stefanski, does that mean Stefanski can get away with bringing in a meh offensive coordinator because he's calling the plays?
Well, the thing is, Stefanski spoke at the Combine and didn't say whether they were or were not going to have him continue to call the plays. Now, here's a quick backstory on why the firing with Alex Van Pelt, who was with Stefanski from day one. Remember, Kevin Stefanski was brought in to coach who? Baker Mayfield, because Freddie Kitchens broke him, and he was a star in 2018. You came in. Alex Van Pelt and Stefanski had the background and styles perfect for a Baker Mayfield type of quarterback.
Sure.
Now, let's fast forward. They make the blockbuster controversial trade. You bring in Deshaun Watson. Well, now Deshaun can't stay healthy, had a whole bunch of rust, yada, yada, yada. It was decided that, you know what? Alex Van Pelt is more of the Kirk Cousins, Baker Mayfield type. That's not what Deshaun Watson is. And clearly entering year 3 of this 5-year contract, which you've gotten zero return on for Deshaun Watson. You have to bring somebody up. So Ken Dorsey, who has he worked with as a quarterbacks coach and had success with? Cam Newton and Josh Allen. Now as an OC, mixed bag and on the downside for Buffalo. We all remember the freak out in the booth.
Right.
But Deshaun Watson is friends with Cam Newton. He was on his podcast. Cam loves him. Deshaun seems to be good. The point is, they're bringing in Ken Dorsey because I think it's a case where Stefanski's like, look, this type of quarterback isn't my expertise. Ken Dorsey has worked with and had success with. Now, if you have Stefanski calling the plays and Dorsey as more of a glorified quarterbacks coach, I'd be comfortable with that because, Josh, that's where he had his most success in Carolina and in Buffalo with those type of quarterbacks.
And by the way, Dorsey was a successful quarterback coach before Daboll left.
That's it.
Buffalo to go to the Giants. And of course, then he had the freak out when he was the offensive coordinator, not as the quarterback coach. So
yeah, help grow Josh Allen. Now, we're not in the rooms. How much was Daboll, Dorsey? I'm sure it was a combination, but he was there for it.
I tend to believe it's more like 60-40 Daboll versus Dorsey.
I'd agree with that. But now it's like, okay, well, at least if you're the Browns and Kevin Stefanski, it's as a fan, it's refreshing to think, wow, how many times do you see head coaches be to the outside egoless? Like this is an admission. Stefanski said we have to put the offense back together. This is a team that won 11 games and went to the playoffs, right? With 4 different quarterbacks, coach of the year saying that. So this is a interesting look, and I think it's a case kind of the last ditch full year of everything all in on Deshaun Watson. Because Josh, if it doesn't work this year, you can map this up officially as the worst trade in NFL history.
speaking of quarterbacks, I want to get your thoughts on the quarterbacks in the draft because aside from the fact that you being a Browns fan have seen all the bad quarterbacks ever play in the NFL,
Amen.
and me as an Eagles fan has seen every great backup quarterback to ever play in the NFL.
Right.
So you have two very different points of reference.
Scarred
quarterbacks. You know, it's like you went through, trying to think of a like Brandon Whedon and
Ken Dorsey was a backup here. Ken Dorsey.
That's right. Well, Colt McCoy was there, right?
I love Colt. Yeah.
You guys had
Johnny Manziel,
Brady Quinn.
Yep.
You guys had
Derek Anderson.
Tim
I love
Couch, Kelly Holcomb.
Oh, Holcomb. Yes.
You know,
all day.
I mean,
Kelly Holcomb.
You guys is interesting. Meanwhile, the Eagles, like the backup quarterback is like the Hall of Fame of backup quarterbacks. I mean, we had Ty Detmer, then Coy Detmer, and AJ Feely, and Mike McMahon, and Jeff Garcia, Michael Vick, who became the starter later, Kevin Cobb, who got traded for a second-round pick, by the way, who turned in.
Wow.
Yeah, and then of course you had Nick Foles. I can forget about Nick Foles, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, Philadelphia's got a very interesting.
It does. Oh my gosh.
But with that being said, what is your position on Caleb Williams? Because there is a lot of very range of views on him.
Yeah. I was looking more in depth, and I'm really going to be diving in with the combine starting today and watching and making my notepad I show you every year, Josh, of combine notes. The quarterback class as a whole, and it's funny, it's every year. Right after this draft, they'll be like, next year's the best one. Every year it goes to. And last year at this time was the same thing. Next year. For Caleb Williams, I'm watching this stuff today, and Josh, you know what? I think personality-wise, he comes off way too cocky, which can be not bad, as you need to be confident. But when I look at the skills, I'm like, it's there, but he's not perfect. Like, I don't look at Caleb Williams, even though people talk about him like a generational talent. I don't see that. I see him as somebody who could struggle early in his career, get frustrated and throw a hissy fit because he's used to being handed everything. That's my concern. So I don't think he's a bum. But I think he's somebody that you got to go to the right situation. Now, if the Bears take him, which it looks like, Justin Fields could go, they would. I look at that, Josh, and honestly, if it's between Caleb Williams and Justin Fields, I would rather build around Justin Fields, maybe trade back in that draft, get some more picks, whatever, or trade back a couple picks. How about this for a little twist? How about you say, nuts to Caleb Williams, I want me Marvin Harrison Jr. How about giving me that monster to go along with Justin Fields? Because I look at them, they're different in ways, but Josh, I got Justin Fields who I kind of know, and I just don't see that big of a difference. How about you get me a Marvin Harrison? Maybe you trade back a spot or two, you get some more picks, build around the guy. Otherwise, you're starting from ground zero. I would do Marvin Harrison Jr. with Justin Fields. Like, if you're a Bears fan, you're not signing up for that? Come on. I would.
But if, just play devil's advocate, because I will preface this by saying I am not a Caleb Williams guy. All right. But there are smart people, who believe he's the best prospect since Andrew Luck. That he is that level of can't miss quarterback prospect. So if you're the Bears, how do you rationalize passing up on what is supposed to be a can't miss guy?
Well, you know what? How are those the same people that were lauding Bryce Young last year?
No,
different size.
They were the people who were lauding Trevor Lawrence. Okay, Trevor Lawrence is supposed to be the best since Andrew Luck. Now, Lawrence hasn't been bad, right?
I still think he can improve too.
But he can. But that's the point.
Yeah.
So Lawrence is not a surefire thing either. So if the people who were saying, well, Lawrence is the best since Andrew Luck, are now saying that Caleb Williams is the best since Andrew Luck, then what do you do with that? Like, where does it fall in between?
I personally would take Trevor Lawrence all day. And this is even if we look at it before the draft, as far as prospect and upside. I just think Caleb Williams, and good on his management team, I think it's a lot of hype. I do. Like, again, it's not to say he's not talented. It's not to say he doesn't have and he's 6'1", but he's thicker. I would consider Jaden Daniels slender, and that durability would concern me, even though he's taller. Caleb Williams is I think he can take some hits. I just am not seeing the upside of a Trevor Lawrence coming out of college. And again, I would say, okay, so if you love Trevor Lawrence, it hasn't worked out as well as you'd hope. Urban Meyer thing, come on, you can't put that on Trevor Lawrence. But am I going to believe you about Caleb Williams? I'm not. Like, I think it goes this way. Bears draft Caleb Williams, and you're going to see essentially the same thing you saw out of Justin Fields the first couple of years. Guy who has to learn the NFL game like anyone else. And, in a couple of years, you're going to be having question marks again. I think you stick with Justin Fields. They're not going to do it, apparently, but that's what I would do.
Justin Fields, you pick his destination. What's the best landing spot? Is it take your bias out of it? I know you're a Browns guy, but I mean, would it be the Steelers? Would it be the Falcons? Would it be the Raiders? Like, what is a landing spot that you think is best for Justin Fields?
I think his best chance to not be broken again after going through all the coaching stuff that he did in Chicago is Atlanta. The funny thing is, and this could all be, stance and whatever, but Pittsburgh has come out time and again. They love Mason Rudolph. You love Kenny Pickett. And Josh, I sure hope they do. Oh, please love Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph. Please enjoy the basement Steelers. Absolutely, please. Raiders, you got Pearson there. Players love them. Okay, that was fun for part of the year. Does it translate long term? I wouldn't really want much of they don't have a quarterback. I wouldn't want much to do with the Raiders. The Falcons are an interesting case because what were we saying? You need a quarterback with all those pieces. Like, it is tantalizing the pieces you have to work with in Atlanta. Justin Fields, Kyle Pitts, London. Like, you got Robinson. You got the pieces there. You just need the quarterback. Is Justin Fields the quarterback? Is the Raheem Morris regime the one that can build him up? That was a questionable hire in my mind. But does he have a better chance there or somewhere like Pittsburgh with weapons and the Raiders who are just a disaster? If it's of the three, I would say Atlanta.
Okay. So I like Jaden Daniels more than Caleb Williams. Jaden is my number one.
Yeah.
Because me, and people have criticized me here on 97.3 ESPN for this. I love intangibles. I'm a big, give me like we were talking earlier on the Sports Bash, Mike Gill, I produced for him from 2 to 6 every day. And how much, I loved watching Kelsey Plum because she was so gifted as a women's college basketball player. But I can't not watch Caitlin Clark because she's an assassin. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's like for such a nice young lady, and like you watch her do interviews and like talk to people, like she's the most polite, pleasant, she's like she's wonderful as a human being. But like she hits a switch and she goes on the court, and if looks could kill, she's gonna murder you. And it's like, to me, that's why I like Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels, the dude hits a switch when he's on the football field. And like, even when his team is losing, you always think they might win this game anyway, because Jaden Daniels is doing this, he's doing that. And I know there's concerns about his slender body.
What about the arm, Josh? The deep ball concerns me. The arm power.
The deep ball concern you?
The arm, some accuracy issues. The I'm not loving the deep ball arm. I'm not saying now. I was looking at him today. I like this. I really like the size. The slender frame does concern me. I think athletic upside. I agree with. I think he's better than Caleb Williams as far as like you said, those intangibles, but also the athleticism.
He's twitchy.
He is, but it's just, I don't know. I'm picturing, man, slender guys, even though he's tall, like if he's thin and he's running around and he gets hit,
I hear you, but I just don't see him being the next RG3. Like I don't think he's going to be that reckless. You know what I mean? Because here's the thing.
As long as his head coach doesn't hose him like Shanahan did.
Well, Lord. I mean, that's right. There's no Mike Shanahan ain't walking through that door, right?
No, thank goodness. Holy cow. Ruined the guy.
No, but seriously, I like what Daniels brings to the table. And
yeah,
if I'm an NFL team, like look at the teams that need quarterbacks right now, right? Like if you're the Bears, don't you need like a guy who's going to change the culture of your franchise? A team like Atlanta, a team like, I mean, I don't want him to go to New England. I think New England would just ruin him at this point, but New England as well. I mean, I would even put him in with the Raiders because Antonio Pierce recruited him to Arizona State. So they already have that connection.
That's interesting. What about with Washington then? That's where he's being mocked in a lot of spots.
See, I think Caleb Williams needs to go to Washington because Cliff Kingsbury is there. And, you know, and Williams, he's from the DC area. You know, he's a guy who's very, I don't want to be too critical of him, but I just feel like he's a bit of an odd individual, and odd individuals need certain environments around them.
And he seems like a me guy. We don't know the guy's person, but he's just a me guy. Jaden Daniels, I get the impression is he walks in, he can be a leader right away. If things go wrong, like I don't know. From Caleb Williams, I just feel, Josh, like if stuff doesn't go wrong, it's going to turn into the me show real quick with him. That's just kind of the feel from hearing about, you know what I mean? It's like there, but like the quarterback class, Josh, I think we could come out of this year and look back 3 years from now and say maybe overall, like, nobody turned out to be great, which happens sometimes. Like, look, is JJ McCarthy not the perfect New England pick? Just another Mac Jones. Just another Mac Jones. Sign him up.
I so think he's a bust. Like
he's a total bust.
I don't.
He's a first. This guy's not a first round pick. Come on.
This guy is going to be the ultimate. Like, you know what he is to me? He's EJ Manuel. That's what he is.
He's Mac Jones to me. Like he's just put him right beside
Mac Jones.
Same guy.
Mac Jones at least had a year in the NFL. This is my problem with the Mac Jones thing. We're going to argue now. Okay, we're going to argue like siblings. Okay, Mac Jones. The problem here is that he is a guy who literally had a good year. His rookie year, he was good. He got the team to the postseason. But as soon as they gave him Matt Patricia, it ruined him. He got totally ruined by Mr. Pencil in the ear with a laminated sheet in front of him.
Like the Belichick, the Belichick incest.
Yeah.
Which is gone now.
Right. Well, it's gone now, but like, so is Bill O'Brien. Like, they're all gone, basically. You know, like Gerard Mayo had to overhaul the staff.
Well, here's what's interesting to me. You got Alex Van Pelt, who we just talked about, left the Browns.
Right.
So I picture this as something where you need that type of, let's use the Kirk Cousins, Baker Mayfield type model. I'm just not impressed with JJ McCarthy at all. Like, I don't think
I'm not impressed with him either. But to me, Mac Jones, I think there's still something there.
Oh, I think he's done. But the most interesting thing about Mac Jones is that his name's McCorkle. That's it. That's the only interesting thing to me about that guy. Here's something to keep an eye on. I think free agency-wide, do not be surprised if Joe Flacco ends up going to the Patriots.
Oh, my goodness.
Not at all. Now, I'm not saying they're not going to sign to a 3-year deal, but as a bridge guy, they draft quarterback X in the draft, and you have Mac Jones.
Here's what I think the Patriots, Joe Flacco should do, okay? I think if what's his name? Sean Payton really is intent on finding his guy, right?
Right.
Okay. Broncos should draft a quarterback, but then they should sign Joe Flacco to be the starter and let Flacco start for a while, because you know what? Payton needs a competent quarterback for his offense.
Yeah.
So
not a rookie.
Let Joe Flacco come in, sling the ball around the yard for a while, and let the young rookie watch Joe Flacco, learn from Sean Payton, and Sean Payton can mold that Play-Doh into what he wants it to be while Flacco gets banged up.
Well, so off of that, teams that need quarterback, where the heck does Russell Wilson go? You know,
I still think Russell Wilson goes to whatever team doesn't get Justin Fields.
Oh, okay. So like the second, there's so many different options because he's going to go somewhere. We have to figure he's going to go somewhere to start. I don't see him yet being in a have to compete to start mode. So it's got to be a team that you go in, right?
Pittsburgh, Atlanta. I could totally see him going to either one of them.
LA?
No.
New England?
There's starters there.
Not New England.
He won't survive in New England. He would. Gerard Mayo would fight him.
Yeah. He's got to go. Yeah, he's got to go somewhere kind of soft, right?
Yes. Well, the only reason why I say Pittsburgh, even though Pittsburgh isn't soft, I say Pittsburgh because I feel like Tomlin has a strong enough understanding of the players that like he might be able to get through to him the way Pete Carroll used to get through to him. You know what I mean?
But Josh, they have Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph. What are you talking about? You don't need anybody. You're fine.
Honestly, you know what the best landing spot would be for Russell Wilson, but it probably won't happen, would be the Giants.
Ooh, with Dable.
Yeah.
But you're not going to bring him in with Daniel Jones. Too much money.
No, but you could trade them. You could make the money work and trade them for each other.
So trade Jones to Denver.
So Jones and Wilson would swap. There needs to be another contract thrown in to make the money work.
Yeah.
Like, Wilson's contract, Jones's contract, and then what
change of scenery for both guys.
Right.
Interesting.
And Jones is physically built a little bit like Drew Brees, isn't he?
Yeah, like
a more athletic version of Drew Brees.
Yeah, can run a bit more. That, you know what? I wouldn't hate that. Like there is some upside with Daniel Jones. Like I ultimately think wherever he goes now, like I think his starting days are numbered. But there is some outside. So maybe you send him to a Sean Payton, although Brian Dable was considered really good coming over from Buffalo. And that didn't work. So there is some upside to it. It's that's interesting. Like, could it be you swap those, you still draft a rookie QB, and that still takes the pressure off, but that's an expensive acquisition, That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm just being creative over here. All right, I gotta let
sorry. I was gonna say, where are you at, Drake May? That guy has Justin Herbert to me written all over him from really coming out of the combine when Justin Herbert. I was like, Josh, this guy's eyes are sticking all over, and then he pops in as a rookie after Tyrod Taylor gets stabbed by the doctor, and he balls out. I get sort of like a lesser Justin Herbert vibe from Drake May.
How about you come on next week? We'll discuss Drake.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. Andy McNamara, the Sick Podcast at AndyMC81. I'm running out of real estate. I got to let you go. So
I'll talk to you later, buddy. See ya.
That's Eddie here on Game Night 97.3 ESPN FM. We'll wrap up the hour, come back the other side. Plus, one more opportunity for you to be a qualifier for the Phillies, the Baltimore trip coming up March 28th, the Phillies watch party at Maynard's in Margate. But if you want to win the prize, you must be present to win and be call number 7 coming up in about 6 minutes from now.
It's Sixers Hornets tomorrow night on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the Sixers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
On the left side, Buddy Hield on the drive, into the lane, left-hand layup, up and good. Buddy Hield scores a layup.
Coverage begins at 7 p.m. It's Sixers basketball all season long on South Jersey's radio home for Philadelphia 76ers basketball.
Hammers it in. Are you kidding me? He rocks the rim with a right-hand jam.
97.3 ESPN.
Have you heard of naloxone? It's a simple nasal spray that can stop an overdose and save a life. Naloxone is available for free at most New Jersey pharmacies. No questions asked. Visit stopoverdoses.nj.gov to learn more. From New Jersey Human Services.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket, just like our customer Jaron.
I'm the singer and guitarist in a band, and I use my Cricket phone for everything. It's basically like another band member.
Don't miss a single beat. Switch today and get a free Samsung Galaxy A14 5G. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Real customer paid for testimonial must bring your number to Cricket on up to a $60 a month voice plan depending on device. Select models only while supplies last. First month service charge and tax due at sale. Cricket 5G requires a compatible device and is not available everywhere. Fees, terms, and restrictions apply. See store for details.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free.
Are you ready to smell better naked? I'm Dr. Shannon Klingman, the OBGYN creator of Lumi, the whole body deodorant that's clinically proven to control odor for 72 hours on pits, feet, privates, and beyond. It's pH optimized to safely and effectively control odor anywhere you have it, but wish you didn't. Plus, it's proven to work better than a shower with soap alone. Whether you shower twice a day or 3 times a week, Lumi works better. And who doesn't want zero body odor? With over 200,000 5-star reviews, I'm so sure you're going to love it, or you can return it for free.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code 800 and get an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack that comes with a solid stick, cream tube, free product of your choice, and ships free with code 800. LUME deodorant.com, code 800 for an extra $5 off a Lumi starter pack. Love it or return it for free. That's LUME deodorant.com, code 800.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Castrol Edge can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP extended life oil filter for only $36.99. Get started on your next job today with the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
There's a price war in the insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call the Term Lifeline right now and see if you can save 40%. $500,000 plans and up, that's our specialty. Even great smokers rates. Protect your family today. Call the Term Lifeline right now for a free quote. 866-509-TERM, 866-509-TERM, 866-509-TERM.
Is switching your wireless service to Total by Verizon easy?
Totalmente.
And you get unlimited 5G data, $25 a line for 4 lines on the unlimited plan, at an amazing price with no contracts. Should you switch to Total by Verizon? Definitely.
Totalmente.
Find a store or switch suavemente at totalbyverizon.com. Monthly rate when you activate without a pay plus taxes and fees. Discount begins the month after you enroll. Additional terms apply. See website for data management practices.
Hey Flyers fans, it's time to level up your game day ritual with the ultimate power duo, the Philadelphia Flyers and Union Forge Vodka. Picture this, the thrill of the game, roar of the crowd, and in your hand, a glass of ultra smooth, 6 times distilled Union Forge perfection. Union Forge is made right here in Philly, so whether you're cheering at the arena or creating your fan zone at home, make it epic with Union Forge Vodka, the official vodka of the Philadelphia Flyers. Cheer on the Flyers with the best tasting vodka produced right here in Philly. Grab a Union Forge bottle today.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennick on 97.3 ESPN and on the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
All right, before we get out of here, listen, Jack from GameNight Courthouse, he has stolen Dan from EHT's primary job takers. Usually Dan EHT is the one sending multiple texts to the text board, but no, today it's Jack GameNight Courthouse. And I'm learning 2 things about Jack from GameNight Courthouse today. One, he likes to use the laughing emoji. So it's good to know that Jack has a good sense of humor. All right. The other thing is, listen, the reason why I look at a guy like Mac Jones the way I do is because for me, I think that there is value in intangibles. And if I've seen you do something, I know you can do it again. Like if I never saw Mac Jones have success, then I would be totally out on him. Okay. I've had him see him had success. And you know what? Maybe it's a flaw in my analysis. Maybe my evaluation is I see a guy do something and I know he has intangibles. I tend to lean that he could do it again. So maybe that's a flaw in my own analysis and how I look at Mac Jones. That's all. All right, sounder, come out. You know what that sound means? Caller number 7 at 609-573-3776. 609-573-3776. Caller number 7, you are a qualifier for the Phillies trip to Baltimore. Thanks to Phillies Sports Trips, you need to bring someone with you. Maybe it's your dad's Father's Day weekend is the Phillies versus Orioles game. You guys get to go to the game, enjoy the tailgate, all the great amenities that come with Philly sports trips. Go to the game as well, by the way, at Camden Yards, one of the best ballparks in all of baseball. You got to be caller number 7 at 609-573-3776. And you must be present March 28th at Maynard's in Margate, the opening day of the Phillies season, where the watch party with Mike Gill and Sports Bash will be going on at Maynard's in Margate. Call number 7, 609-573-3776. Good luck.